Have you ever glanced into a mirror, just as you're about to turn away, and seen something move? Something that couldn't possibly be there. Not your own reflection, not a trick of the light. Something else. What if that reflection wasn't just in one mirror, but in every single one, across an entire empty building? And what if when you turned to face it, there was nothing there? Tonight, I'm going to tell you how I learned that some places don't just die, they linger. And sometimes they try to pull you in with them. This isn't just a ghost story, though it has its share of shadows. This is a story about a place, a forgotten space, that refused to stay silent. It's about a particular kind of dread that creeps in when you're utterly alone, surrounded by the ghosts of what used to be. We're going to walk through that night with me, the slow, quiet hours, the turning point when the music started, the worst moment, trapped between reflections, what it cost me, and what to this day still follows. Consider this a warning, a late-night whisper about the things that wait in the quiet places, especially the ones we've abandoned. It was a dead mall, you see. Not just struggling, but truly dead. The kind with tumbleweeds of dust blowing down deserted corridors and the air thick with the smell of stale ambition. This was about 7 years ago, in a town too small to sustain its dreams. I took the night janitorial shift, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Just me, the fluorescent hum, and the ghosts of retail past. My job was simple: scrub floors, empty bins, make sure no homeless folks had broken in. It was monotonous, but peaceful. Or so I thought. The first strange detail wasn't scary, not at first. It was subtle. Sometimes, usually around 2 a.m., I'd hear it. A faint, tinny sound. Like music. Mall music. You know the kind. Cheerful, innocuous instrumental tracks designed to soothe shoppers into spending. But this mall had been silent for months. The sound system was gutted. Power to the individual stores was cut. Yet, I'd catch snippets. Just for a second. Enough to make me pause, tilt my head, and then dismiss it as my imagination. Sleep deprivation, probably. The echoes of my own past shopping trips.
My heart hammered. Was I overtired? Seeing things? A trick of the angle, perhaps. But the clarity of it, the absolute stillness of that dark shape, it felt too real to be a hallucination. I turned slowly, my mop bucket clattering softly against the tiles. The store interior was pitch black, silent, empty. Nothing. Just the faint hum of the building and the distant echo of my own breath. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, just a shadow playing tricks. But the music seemed to swell for a moment just as I turned away, a quiet, mocking crescendo. Here's what we know so far: a dead mall, phantom music, and a fleeting reflection. But it got worse, much worse. It was a Tuesday, or maybe a Wednesday. The days blend together when you work the graveyard shift. The music was persistent now, almost constant in the department store wing. It felt like it was trying to lure me in. I was in the women's clothing section, pushing my cart. The mirrors there are everywhere: dressing rooms, walls, display pillars. And as I passed each one, I saw it, the figure. Not always the same. Sometimes a flash of something in a dressing room mirror, just at the edge of my vision. A quick glimpse of a form standing behind a clothes rack and a reflective pillar. Always a dark, indistinct shape, always still, always gone when I actually looked. It was like a distorted, silent audience watching me. I tried to ignore it, keep working, but the dread was a physical weight on my chest. Every squeak of my wheels, every splash of my mop felt amplified. Then I turned into the lingerie department, a sea of mannequins dressed in faded, delicate fabrics, and mirrors, so many mirrors, floor to ceiling, angled, 3-panel dressing room mirrors. The music was loud here, not blasting, but present, like a live band playing just for me. And in every single mirror, framed perfectly,
was the figure. It wasn't a trick of light this time. It wasn't a fleeting glance. They were all there, dozens of them, tall, slender, faceless, standing amongst the mannequins, in the reflected aisles, in the dressing room corners. I froze. My heart felt like a trapped bird against my ribs. I couldn't move. I was surrounded by reflections, and every single one held an observer. They weren't moving, not yet, but they were watching, waiting. I slowly, very slowly, lifted my mop. It felt like an anchor. My eyes darted from mirror to mirror, trying to find a flaw, a trick, but there was nothing, just the dark shapes, the silent audience in every reflective surface. And then one of them moved, just a subtle tilt of its head in the reflection of a 3-panel mirror, as if it was considering me, weighing me. What would you have done, standing there, surrounded by an impossible crowd in a dead mall, knowing none of them were truly there? I didn't scream. I couldn't. I just dropped the mop. The clatter echoed for what felt like an eternity, and then I ran. I ran out of that department store, out of the mall, and straight to my car. I never went back. I called my supervisor, told him I was sick, and quit over the phone the next morning. So, what was it? My best conclusion after all these years is this. It wasn't a ghost, not in the traditional sense. It was the mall itself.
This place, once filled with people, with chatter, with music and commerce, and 1,000 fleeting reflections in its glass and mirrors, it didn't just die. It absorbed them. It absorbed the energy, the presence, the very echoes of all those shoppers and workers. And when it was empty, when the silence became too much, it started to manifest them. The music, the last dying breath of its former life, playing on a loop for its invisible patrons. And the figures in the mirrors, the collective memory, the ghostly reflections of all those who had passed through, trapped in the glass, watching the last living thing walk its halls. It felt like the mall was trying to pull me into its endless reflection, to make me one of them, to add my image to its silent, mirrored crowd. That's why they only appeared in reflections, because that's where they truly lived. And to this day, when I catch my own reflection in a shop window or a darkened glass door, I still feel a prickle of fear, a subconscious urge to check behind me, just in case, because you never know what else might be reflected there, what might be watching you from the glass. Have you ever felt a place was watching you, or had an experience in an abandoned building that made the hairs on your neck stand up? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. If you made it this far, you're one of us. Consider subscribing for more stories from the dark corners of the world. There's always another tale waiting to be told.